So Sonic X Shadow Generations is coming out relatively soon. So I'm gonna recap every mainline Shadow story so you can be caught up. Starting with Sonic Adventure 2. So Eggman is just casually looking for the ultimate life form, and that ultimate life form turns out to be Shadow. He saves Eggman from some big ass robot, and Shadow tells Eggman, if you gather every Chaos Emerald, I'll grant you a wish, whatever that means. So while Eggman is looking for the Chaos Emeralds, so is Shadow, and he finds one inside of a bank of all places. Not like a museum, a highly guarded army base, just a regular bank. But Shadow also has a flashback of this girl called Maria. They're running from something and Maria basically saves Shadow's life, and she asks him to promise her one singular thing: please forgive and protect humanity. And this nigga decided to do the complete opposite. He somehow forgot the most important part of what she said. Then Shadow decides to go see Sonic. For no real reason, honestly. He already had the Chaos Emerald. He could have just dipped. Like, all he does is just teleport and then calls him a fraud. But after that, Shadow shows Eggman the Ark, which is a space colony with a weapon of mass destruction inside of it, created by a scientist named Gerald. Keep that name in mind because he be making very questionable decisions. The weapon is called the Eclipse Cannon, and it can easily destroy a whole planet, but it needs Chaos Emeralds to work. Eggman wants to use this weapon to conquer Earth. Then Rouge the Bat hops down from out of nowhere, and she says she'll help look for the Chaos Emeralds for like no benefit of her own. And Eggman just asks 0 questions. Same with Shadow. He never asks why some guy he just met is willing to give him a weapon of mass destruction. But the next Chaos Emerald is in an army base that they're going to steal from, then just blow up after for no reason. Like, there's really no purpose for them to blow it up. I think Eggman just wanted to. But while they're talking about the plan, Amy just bear hugs this nigga and he looks insanely confused. The plan is going well until Rouge somehow traps herself inside with the Chaos Emerald. Shadow is about to go save Rouge, but he runs into Sonic, and Sonic wants to fight again because Shadow was talking crazy last time, and he wants to stop him from like doing something bad, but more importantly, he was talking crazy. But while they're fighting, Eggman calls Shadow and tells them that they're not just blowing up the army base anymore, they are going to blow up the entire island. I still don't really understand why they have to blow up anything, but okay. And Sonic really wants to stop Shadow now because now this nigga just be blowing up shit, I guess. But Shadow goes to save Rouge, they blow up the island, and then they go back to the Ark. But while they're in the Ark, Eggman just decides to blow up the fucking moon. This nigga deadass got a problem. Like, it was no reason to do that. I think it was to scare everybody on Earth into making him their ruler. This is completely unrelated, but this little girl is ugly as shit. But it turns out Rouge is actually a spy that works for Gun. Gun is just basically the FBI. She's researching to see if Shadow is really the ultimate life form. And Rouge goes to get the Master Emerald. And Team Sonic finally make it to the Ark. And then Tails makes the biggest sale of all time.
Hand over the Chaos Emerald, slowly, and then we'll talk about your girlfriend. That is, if you really care for her.
Hand over the big emerald. I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Turn into a big-time villain, Doctor.
Whoa! You thought you could trick me with that fake emerald, didn't you?
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Wow.
Is this nigga serious?
Me personally, I would have had to stop being friends with Tails after that one. I see why his parents left this dumbass nigga. But now after getting the final Chaos Emerald he needed, Eggman starts the cannon. And it turns out Gerald made it so when you get every emerald for the cannon, the Ark would just fall down onto the Earth, blowing the whole planet up. Now see, the reason he's doing all this is because Gerald thought having the ultimate life form would be helpful for humanity for some reason. I could see the ultimate weapon, but the ultimate life form? But the military finds out about this and they decide to shut everything down, which is, you know, understandable. Having a life form that you really can't control that well and is capable of destroying the whole Earth isn't exactly smart. So the military shut down the Ark, but Maria is still in the Ark when it happens. So Gerald Robotnik wants to avenge Maria. So that's why he's attempting to blow up the Earth. Oh yeah, and Gerald is dead. I forgot to say that. Gerald made Shadow and gave him the plan, which is why he willingly gave over the weapon to Eggman. After everybody realizes that Gerald had this whole plan to just crash out, they attempt to stop it, cause I mean, nobody wants the Earth to blow up, so they're all helping to stop the cannon. Besides Shadow, he's just sitting in a corner somewhere. And Amy, I guess they just couldn't find a use for her. While Amy is sitting there doing absolutely nothing, she tells Shadow to go help. But while Amy is talking, he finally remembers that Maria said, save the world, don't destroy it. You know, easy mistake, so he runs off to go help, and they find the prototype ultimate life form. Shadow holds it off for a little bit, but it's not enough, and the Earth is seconds away from being destroyed. So now there's only one thing they can do. I remember as a kid, I thought this was the coolest shit. And nigga, it still is. This will never not be cool as fuck. This and you throwing his glasses in Persona 4 gotta be the best moments in video game history. Matter of fact, let me check.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass.
IGN always be on some bullshit, bro. Anyway, they beat the prototype, then they dap each other up, and they stop the arc from falling. But after that, Shadow just doesn't have enough energy, so he falls to Earth and he dies. It's so hard to fall that poo, to fall that poo. Next is Sonic Heroes, and not even 30 seconds in, Shadow is back. But he can't remember anything, like everything that happened in Sonic Adventure 2 and Maria. Rouge came to get Shadow, and this robot named Omega is also in the room. Omega is mad at Eggman because he stuffed him in his hot ass room for a long time. Shadow wants to find Eggman because he wants answers about his memory, and Rouge doesn't really care about Eggman, honestly, but they decide to team up because they all have a common goal. So they travel across multiple areas looking for Eggman and beat up random people for no reason.
Man, who are those creeps over there?
What's up, SBO? And you are?
Just what do you think you're doing here?
Who's this broad? Our client's adversary, perhaps.
You mean the bad guys?
You guys don't fool me. I know what you're after. Better stay out of my way.
I used to think it was rude that they would just call them creeps for no reason, but looking back at it, these niggas are kinda creepy. Ain't Charmy like 8? Why is he with these two grown ass men? Where is his parents? And why does he work for a crocodile with a Cuban link? And why does he have Rick Owens on? There's so many questions. But anyway, every time they find Eggman and Shadow tries to ask him a question, he just avoids the question. Until one time they fight a fake Eggman and they find half of a fake Shadow's body on the floor. So now Shadow's super confused about what's going on. So now he's questioning whether or not he's a real or fake Shadow. After that, they find a whole lab full of fake Shadows. And Rouge confirms that the nigga they've been going around with this whole time is a robot. Alright, next is Shadow the Hedgehog, and it's kind of complicated. Okay, so Shadow the Hedgehog has 326 different paths, and none of them are like the canon one. And this game as a whole, I'm like 90% sure it's not canon, at least the story of the game. So I'ma just talk broadly about the game. So we find out that the Shadow from Sonic Heroes is actually the real Shadow. We find out Maria is like really sick also. Well, was really sick. She not, you know, alive anymore. Okay, and there's also Black Doom. He's a villain. He be trying to get Shadow to like crash out. He's invading the Earth and he keeps asking for handouts from Shadow. He got no motion. Oh yeah, and he's also like Shadow's dad, but I'm pretty sure they retconned that. Next is Doomseye, and he somehow got even less motion. He just an underling. He be the main nigga asking Shadow for a handout. Okay, so next is Sonic 06. So Shadow is now a part of Gun. He's like a secret agent or something, and his mission was to go save Rouge. Rouge has this rare thing called the Scepter of Darkness and wants Shadow to take her to this place called Soliana. And Eggman, who is now the ugliest nigga on Earth, wants the artifact. He tries to steal it, but he just ends up breaking it, and some guy called Myphilis comes out of it. And he also doesn't have a mouth for some reason. So Myphilis teleports some 200 years into the future. The Sonic team is also here, and they all find out how to go back to the present really fast. Shadow stays behind because he wants to know what Myphilis did to the world. So he explains that after the world got destroyed by Iblis's flames, they hunt Shadow down and even trap him. Myphilis asks him for help to get revenge. Shadow basically says fuck no, and then he beats him up with Omega. Myphilis ran back to the present because he was not ready to get jumped. When Shadow and Omega follow him, they lose this nigga immediately. Shadow decides to go ask Eggman about Myphilis since he always be knowing some crazy shit. And Eggman basically says if you got any questions, just go ask him yourself, which is the most useless information ever. Like nigga, I could have thought of that. But while he's going after Myphilis, he runs into Silver and they have this iconic fight.
Chaos control!
But anyway, they realize that they're on the same side, and they see the lab where Iblis and Mythilus were made and how the experiment failed. So Shadow puts Mythilus back in the bottle and then just leaves him on the ground. So Shadow goes back to the past and he now has the knowledge on how to put Mythilus back in the jar. So he goes to Mythilus for Rouge and Omega. But Mythilus is way stronger with Shadow's body, so as soon as he tries to put him in the jar, that shit just doesn't work. So Shadow doesn't know anything and now they're surrounded by clones. But what might be the second hardest moment in the Sonic franchise, you know, it's number 2 because we all know what number 1 is. He takes off his ring limiters. He still hasn't done that to this day in another game. And you know the craziest part about this? None of this happens. Because everything that happened in Sonic 06 is just erased from existence or something. Like, it happened, but it didn't happen. It's weird. Alright, next is Sonic Generations, and this nigga does absolutely nothing in this game. He get like a little boss fight, and he's also at the end telling Sonic to like not give up or something. Which if you ask me, you know, that's kind of dick riding, but I'm gonna let it slide this time, I guess. Now the final one, Sonic Forces episode Shadow. So Shadow is looking for Omega since he got like kidnapped or something. I don't know how this heavy ass nigga got kidnapped though. While Shadow's looking for Omega, he runs into Infinite, who really hates Shadow, and Shadow doesn't even know who this nigga is. And he mad as shit that Shadow don't remember him. He trying to hide it, but we all know he mad as shit. The reason he's mad is because a month ago, Shadow ran up in Eggman's base, packed up his whole squad, then he beats up Infinite and calls him pathetic, and he remembers none of this. This only happened a month ago. That shit hurt him so bad that he devoted months just to beat Shadow. After that is the whole story of Sonic Frontiers, which doesn't have that much to do with Shadow. He just helped in the war.